Saturday. It's so gloomy today, so it's like the coloring's all ooh. Probably my black background is whiting out my face. But anyway, hopefully everybody is having a lovely Saturday so far, no matter where you're at. Wondering if I get a little bit more coloring in here, the color won't be so bad. Let's see. Nope, that's just how the color is gonna be. Sorry guys, it's so gloomy outside, but it's not cold. It's really hot and humid. Christina, hey! So it's been overcast here, probably, past few days, and then like later in the day, and like around 2 p.m. or so, the sun will come blazing out, and it's like super hot, so because it's like coming through the clouds, so it's like Solaria Willow, hey! so yeah, it's mostly overcast and hot and humid. Angela Grady's so happy to be catching her first live. Hey! Well, good. So happy to have you here. So yeah, just waiting for folks to pop in. I can't be on super late today, so I mean, we'll probably do our normal like hour and a half, which will be fine. But my good friend who I've known since 6th grade, which was like school year like 92, 93. So I've known her for a while. Her youngest daughter is having her 5th birthday today. Hey, New Age Lunatic, what's up? So yeah, so I'm gonna be going over to her daughter, her daughter's 5th birthday party. So I'm so excited, and I have her little gift downstairs, and Christina says we went to the Welcome Tonight Veil live show last night. It was so fun. Ooh, definitely describe. Let us know how that was. Debbie said, OMG, I gotta go to work late today. So, okay, so you get to hang out for a little while before you get to, head off to the work ski. So I wanted to show you guys, well, gosh, I wish the coloring were better, but, because I'm kind of looking kind of ghostly today. But I need the sun come through the clouds. So you guys can see my actual brownness. I am not ghosty. But I wanted to show you a new mug that I got, and I put it on my Instagram. And it's by Sacred Lotus Love, and they have this little neoprene sleeve for it, so it just protects it a little bit more and helps keep your liquids a little bit colder, a little bit warmer. And it's a glass mug, so let me show you guys. So I have to be extra careful with it because it's glass, but it's double-walled glass in order to keep things cold or warm. So I have my tea in here right now. I decided not to put the tea in the little tea basket, but I decided to put the tea in here because in the tea basket I put a crystal. So like I'm trying out crystal infused water now that I have like a little thing to do it. So I'm just using like my quartz crystals and my calcite, since those are really the two safest to use. Like if you don't know if a crystal's safe or not to actually, put in water and drink, like calcite and quartz are like your safest bet. So I just have a clear quartz in here. And then as for my tea, if you're wondering what tea oh, hey, Loki, how's it going? It's like my altar seems to be moving because there's a Lokester back there. I don't know if you guys can see. Oh, you guys can see the Lokester. Oh, Loki, they be looking at you. Christina says, we listen to the Welcome to the Night Vale podcast when my grandson visits. I order a Ruth Bader Ginseng Tarot Justice Tarot mug. Ooh! Or Ginsburg, sorry. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I said ginseng. Tarot Justice Tarot mug. That is so cool! So yeah, I have in here today, for my tea, I have Emperor's green tea, so it's Chinese green tea, and then I have like it's just the tea leaves, and then I put in calendula flowers, and I put in 2 rose hips. So I have rose hips, calendula flowers, and green tea leaves. But I don't know if you guys can see, it's got like the flower of life symbol here. It's got some more like sacred geometry. And up here kind of more of the seed of life almost. And yeah, so I'm digging it. And yeah, and oh, and on the bottom, you know, it's got a little thing to kind of get it to grip the countertop or wherever you're putting it. But of course, with anything glass, you guys just got to be extra careful. Ooh, it's nice and hot in there, which is good. And so the basket, you can unscrew it from, well, I don't want to tip it because I have the tea in there, but there's the little like strainer up at the top here, and that keeps this stuff from going through into your mouth while you're trying to drink it. New Age says it's a panther in his natural habitat. Yes, the panther goes into the wild. He visits the altar. He looks around for things that he could steal. And so you don't have to have the basket if you don't want to. And plus you can flip these to either end. So maybe you want the basket down at the bottom while you drink your tea, or if you're just drinking, you know, whatever flavored water, like if you want to put your fruit in here and, you know, and have the strainer up at the top, and then you can drink your flavored water and not have your fruit smacking you in the mouth while you're trying to drink your water. But anyway, I thought the company was really nice. They have YouTube videos on how best to care for your mug, and which I watched because I mean, it wasn't super expensive, but you know, you don't want to break your stuff. So this was like, I think it was like $32. But they have like videos on how to care for it, what you could, you know, put in it, and you know, fun drinks to use with it. They sent me an email. It's like, are you happy with our product? Please let us know if you have any questions. And you know, so I don't know, the company seems really nice. So yay, I'm really happy. Oh, and I do have to mention the little strainer in the middle. It has sacred geometry too. And so does the little basket down at the bottom of the basket. It has little sacred geometry there. I'm like, oh, I just love the little like cute touches, you know? Makes it feel, you know, uber special. But anyway, let me put my, kind of want to keep this nice and warm throughout our chat. So what else has been going on with y'all? What y'all been up to this week? I've had a pretty nice week. Pretty nice and relaxing-ish. I finally got started on my guidebook. Yay! For my Oracle deck. So I can't believe, like, it's like, whoo, like this is getting real. Like it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have an Oracle deck. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. And you know, I'm gonna send maybe later next week what I have so far to my print company and see, like, just making sure it's within their like print guidelines and everything. So anyway, let's see. New Age says, I think I have one of these, but it's surrounded by bamboo and it's a water bottle. They have a bamboo one, I think, as well. I think there's one that's like all bamboo. I think they have one that's glass and a bamboo cap. I think they make a few different kinds, but that's just the one that, you know, I thought looks pretty cool. Wanna throw my little crystals in there, you know. And speaking of crystals, last night, I mean, I always try to pick a stone. Wow, the color. I don't know, maybe I should move so I'm not so ghosty for you guys. I don't want to be a ghost. Maybe if we go this way. Hey! Okay, so it's just the black background that's messing with it. Honey Lemon, hey! So, before I go to bed, I always choose one of my stones to put underneath my pillow, and then that's the stone I usually carry around for the day. Lately, it's been garnet. Garnet I had like the entire week while I was at school, and one of my friends was like, Garnet's like fire energy and you already have a lot of fire energy. And I was like, yeah, well, I've been feeling kind of, I don't know, really wiped out. For as much energy as I have, I've just, by the end of the day, I'm just like, I'm just, you know, sideways on the bed, head hanging over the bed, getting a whole head rush thing going on, but not caring because I'm so tired. You know, so I needed that extra boost. So Garnet was really helpful. Garnet felt really grounding. It felt energizing, but not to the point where, you know, I had the shakes or anything. It was just, you know, giving me that extra little pep I needed, you know, throughout the week. New Age says, it's okay, you're illuminated. I got the blinding lights. So anyway, last night I chose to sleep with my aquamarine. And it's a nice raw chunk of it that I got at the Gem Fair one year from the geology student booth, where everything's really cheap because they just kind of like pluck it out of the ground and you just take it as is. So it's probably just a couple of dollars, but I had this under my pillow last night. I had some interesting dreams, and you guys know that I love sharing my dreams with you guys, and I love it when you guys do dream interpretation. It's always so fun. So okay, I don't remember the whole dream, but I'll give you the bits and pieces that I do remember, and you guys can do your dream interpretation. Okay, so I remember that I was with two other people. I was with a guy and a girl in my dream. And this guy and this girl wanted to steal from this place. It kind of looked like a church, but it just was an old building, but it looked like a church, but I don't really think it was a church. And so it was like this whole heist to like get in and, hey Loki, that's Loki back there. There's a psychotic panther in the room. And it was to like steal the hidden money or riches or something. And so I didn't feel good about it, and I was like, we really shouldn't be stealing, you know. And they were like, this person basically is awful, you know, and this person is the one that like stole the riches in the first place. And they said, so why would it be bad to steal from somebody who's stolen it already? It like, this is already stolen goods. And I was like, well, yeah, but still. And I was like, and even if the person's a horrible person, like we still shouldn't steal from them. So they decide to do the stealing, and they have me like hold this bucket because the riches are in the ceiling. And we just keep calling it the riches. So the riches are in the ceiling, and the guy and the girl, they have like these sticks, and they're like pounding like holes into the ceiling. And so I have this bucket so I can catch the riches. And basically the riches, when we pound open the ceiling, it's rice. It's rice and pearls. And that's it. Like, but to us, it was like money. So like this rice, like it's like uncooked rice and pearls are falling from the ceiling into our bucket. And then all of a sudden we could hear, Debbie asks when the Gem Fair is this year. It's probably another few months out, you know, cause it's every like 3 or 4 months. So anyway, we hear the guy coming, the guy who's stashed it up in the ceiling, and we're like, ah, so we go hide, and we hide, like I'm hiding under a table, but clearly I'm in like plain sight, like you can see me, like, you know, I'm hiding under a table, you know. And so, and I know that I could like clearly see everybody. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna see me. And the other two people try to hide, but the guy can only see those two people. And like with my long hair, I'm like trying to cover myself because it's kind of dark in there, and I was wearing a dark dress. So I was like, oh no, like don't see me, you know. And he sees them, and he like it's like kind of violent, like he wants to put them to death or something like that. And so I'm hiding, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because this guy is like a really evil guy, like he's a, I don't know, like a mob leader or something like that. And so this other guy who I can't see his face, but he's kind of a big dude. Wayward Son, hey! I'm just telling you guys my like crazy dream. And so big dude comes, and I can only see that he has a striped shirt on, but I can't see his face. I only see him from like the neck down. Hair. It's like, come on, I got you. So he grabs me and he walks out sideways, but he's so big that like you can't, like, you wouldn't be able to see me on the other side of him. So he's like kind of carrying me out to this Jeep or something, which, by the way, I kept seeing all these Jeeps, like identical Jeeps yesterday. I have no idea what the symbolism of Jeep is. So anyway, other than general purpose back in the day. So he carries me out, we get away, and then somehow we have to come back, and the guy has turned the place, like the mobster guy has turned the place into now like a storefront, but it's just a front for his whatever business dealings that he's doing. And I'm like telling the big guy, why did you take me back here? Like, the guy, if he finds me, he's gonna kill me, you know? But we find out that he hasn't killed the other two people. He's just kind of kept them prisoner. But I'm like, whew, like, we gotta save my friends, you know? But I decide that this guy's really bad, and I'm trying to see if I can get the police involved without getting caught by this guy. And so it's a lot of me like ducking and hiding, but I'm in plain sight the whole time, and I can't understand why I'm not being found, even though it's easy to spot me because I'm like hiding under like tables and in clothing racks. But my mission is to get this guy caught. Never did anything with the riches, like ended up just like giving it to the police. You know, so in the end, like my dream finally ends before I wake up to Wally purring on my neck, because that's what he likes to do in the morning. So he kind of woke me up with his I call him a Wally scarf, so he was laying across my neck just like purr, 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 purr. And so the police come, they arrest the guy, I give them the bucket of riches, you know, I tell them like basically everything that happened, and I felt like, whew, relief that I never got caught. So that was my dream. I have no idea. It's like, okay, so I'm like stealing riches, but then we give the riches to the police, and I don't know, and something about Jeeps, and Loki, what the heck are you doing? And there's crazy panthers, and and actually during my waking time yesterday, I kept seeing like Jeeps surrounding me on the road, like but the same Jeep, like identical black Jeeps, like everywhere. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I'm being followed by Jeeps. Light of Ryga, hey, how are you? He says, heyo. Are we talking dreams? Yes, we are. My dreams have been so intense this week. Do you think it's because the veil is thinning? Possibly. For the veil thinning, I kind of feel like it started doing that back in July. Like, like it's been getting crazy intense, and as we get, you know, closer to Samhain, Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, and all that, it's just, yeah, my dreams are so intense. They're so like, whoa, what was that? Like last night, it's like, what was that? And the moon loves me. Hello. I uploaded a video a few days ago, and there are orbs whizzing past my head on the right side of the screen. It was so crazy. I didn't even think about the veil thinning. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think, I wonder if you were the one that posted the comment about that video, but I definitely need to check out that video. It could be, you know, there's just so much stuff going on. For me, it's been since July. Like July, like just my ability to connect with spirit is just like, whoo, just so effortless. My you know, trying out new things with like all my different clairs and things like that, it's just been so intense, you know. And my dreams are intense. My ability to feel like the energy of others is just intense, which is probably why the past month or so I've been feeling really wiped out. I think it's been about a month now. You know, I just feel so exhausted, but carrying around the garnet really helped a lot. You know, I don't feel like super wiped out. Plus I got a good night's sleep last night. I mean, other than my crazy dream. Oh, hey Loki. Oh! Ooh, can't catch the panther. He's too fast. But yeah, other than that, Just chilling with the Claires. Yes, Wayward Son. I'll be chilling with the Claires. But yeah, just my I've been feeling like my relatives popping in and out. My like normally how I connect with spirit, like how I like see spirit, usually with my third eye. I can feel them. Sometimes I can feel like physical touch. I often hear a lot of times talking, like I can hear them like talking in my ear, and it'll be loud, but you know, it wasn't like an actual audible sound. It's just something that like my other ears are hearing. You know, I can yeah, that's basically how I connect with them. And so now it's been a lot of like seeing them with my eyeballs, which hasn't freaked me out. You know, I always thought that if I ever saw a ghost or a spirit, you know, even if it was my grandmother, that if I saw them with my physical eyes, it would freak me the hell out. So I've always been like, no, 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 like third eye is cool. Like, you know, and I've always thought that I would be scared. And now that when I see them with my physical eyes, it's not scary. It's like, you know that that's not a person in the physical world, but yet it's not scary. It's just like seeing them with your third eye, except you're like, oh, you know, hello. You know, and so for me, I always thought it would be scary because maybe because I was so scared as a kid. But yeah, it's not been scary. So I've been feeling like I don't know, like maybe this whole time is just opening us up to stuff, you know? Let's see. New Age says, I've had crazy dreams and lucid dreams since August time. That's about the time I feel it thinning. Yeah, it was July, August, just craziness. Lighter Riga, I want to see them so badly. You know, it's so weird, you know, when I was younger, I wasn't like a lot younger. Like, let's go back to like 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think that's about as far back as I can remember. Anything before that's like, you know, not really in my memory bank, or at least nothing that I can recall. 3, 4 years old, not too scared. Then when my family members and things like that start pounding in that ghosts are scary, and there's devils and there's like scary things out there, and you know, and if you see things or hear things, you're crazy, because we had a couple of people in our family that suffered from mental illness, so you're just like them, you know, if you see and hear things. And so then it was like, oh, like that's scary, like, oh, I don't want that, you know, I want to shut that down. So please make it all go away. I don't want to see anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. And my brother, like he would see like all the time physically with his eyes, and he would talk telepathically with like our family members and things like that. And so I would just see him get like made fun of relentlessly by my father, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that. You know, I don't want what my brother has, and I don't want any part of it, you know. And so it was subdued. It never totally went away. I just was really good at ignoring anything. And then when I got into my teens, it was like I was curious about it again. You know, I was always very curious about that stuff. It's just I didn't want to physically feel anything. I'm like, oh, but that's too scary if it's happening to me. But I don't mind like listening to stories of other people and seeing what other people can do, because I find that fascinating, but from a distance, you know. And so then when I was got into high school, you know, I had a lot of friends, like my friend whose daughter's birthday party I'm going to later today, where a lot of my Hispanic friends, my Mexican friends, it was like no big deal. Like, of course we see ghosts. Like, why is that scary, you know? And I was like, oh, so there was like friends of mine where it was no big deal. And I had friends of mine that, you know, practiced witchcraft, that played with tarot cards. And I was like, but it was like no big deal. So I was like, So I started kind of opening up a little bit more in high school, but still like somewhat guarding myself. And then in college, it was, you know, I opened myself up more because there were more people that I got to meet from around the world, because I lived in an international dorm, where there was just so many different points of view on death, on spirit, on the metaphysical, and it was like, oh, like not everybody thinks the way my family thinks. Like there are these so many different cultures and so many different beliefs, and the way they see things. And I was like, oh, so like I opened up a little bit more, you know, but still like remaining somewhat guarded. And then I don't know, it was probably like 10 years ago now. Well, let's see, my boyfriend and I have been together going on like 12 years, but so yeah, it was like probably about 12 years ago. I really started, you know, saying, you know, this is silly. I don't want to be scared anymore. If this is something like people can just do naturally, and it's as natural as, you know, hair growing, then why would I be scared of it, you know? So I forced myself to start opening up and really opening up in my dreams, and yeah, and that's kind of what brought me to where I am now. Wayward Son, I've never been able to see anything directly head on, only in peripheral vision, and I shift my eyes or turn my head to look and they disappear. Light of Raga said, same here. That's how it was when I was younger. You know, it'd be like a, you know, there's somebody there, and then you look and it's like they're gone, or there's like a shadow just in your peripheral, and you look and they're gone, and I would get freaked out, be like, I'm like, whoever's here, go away, I don't want to see you, you know. That's kind of how I used to be. Light of Raga, do you think you still have blockages from childhood? I don't know. I think well, in a lot of meditations I've done, I've gone back to my childhood self, back to points in my childhood which I knew were really scary for me, you know, and I've talked myself through it, you know, like big sister talking to little sister, but it's me, you know. And I don't know, I've been in these like crazy meditations where I can see what I was seeing at the time, and it's not scary to older me. So I'm trying to tell younger me, okay, this is what's going on, okay? You know, so I've been doing a lot of coaching of my younger self, and going back to those various points in time that were very frightening for a younger kid. And I think that's helped a lot. And the more I do that, the more I'm opened up here, like now, as an adult. So I you know, we probably all still have, you know, some blockages from childhood. You know, I don't doubt that. I don't claim to be all like super enlightened guru. But yeah, I just keep going back anytime I feel like, you know, why aren't I progressing in this? You know, maybe there's something I got to go back and go work on. So I love doing those meditations. I don't do them very often because yes, Light of Raga, they are very powerful. So I can't really do them all the time, but yeah, I like doing them though. I think it's kind of a trip to see my younger self, because I really feel like I'm there. I feel I feel like I'm there, and I can see what I was seeing, and it's so much more vivid than how I recall it. So, you know, I don't know where I go in those meditations. I probably really do. I feel like I really do travel into the past. I feel like, you know, or the past in my brain, like who knows really what's going on. But, you know, like I'll have a kind of a recollection of what I was seeing, but when I travel in these meditations, it's so much more clear. Like I'm like, whoa. Light of Raga wants to know if I ever talk with my future self. You know, that's not something I've done yet. However, I don't know, like, kind of what you guys think about this, but I have felt on occasion, it hasn't happened a lot, like at all. Like it's probably happened less than, you know, my 5 fingers, but I have felt like my future self has tried to do to me what I'm doing with my younger self. Like that's a trip, right? Like, you know, I'll be in a meditation and I won't see this person, but it feels like me. Like it feels like my own energy, just older. and it feels like my older self is trying to coach me now, and I'm so confused in my meditation because I'm like, is that me? Or is this like my grandmother? Or like, who the heck is this? Because it feels like so familiar, and I feel like it's me, and I feel like they're coaching me, and I'm like, is this me? You know, so but those meditations are really short, like those ones, and they've only, like I said, happened like less than a handful of times. But I was like, it left me wondering, like, you know, about, you know, because I'm always so fascinated by timelines, you know, how they always say that, you know, beyond this world there is no time, there is no past and future, present, you know, it's all at the same time. And in a lot of my meditations, that's what I've been told, that it's all at the same time, you know, and that's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around, probably because I'm in this dimension right now. But I truly do believe that there's so many other dimensions, and we're just like in a mix of those dimensions. We happen to be where we are right now, but there's so much going on outside of this plane that we can see, and I believe that that's for a reason. That if we got to see all the other dimensions and all the other, you know, things like in our face that's going on, it would be really hard for us possibly to do our earth schooling. You know, we come here, we incarnate, we want to learn stuff. And hey, Tarot by Pixie, what's up, Charlie? Hey, taking a break from decorating to see you live. Hey, well, good to see you. New Age said, for as long as I can remember, I've always been into witches and the dark and ghosts and shadow people. Yes, I don't remember much, but I remember talking about the shadow people. Oh, speaking of little shadows, look who showed up. It's Loki. Yeah, well, there's a story. See, maybe when I was around 7, I used to draw because I used to be the little artist. I used to draw all the time. And when I was probably around 6 or 7, I used to draw these crazy pictures, and I wouldn't even know where the thought for these pictures were coming from, but they were all like horrible pictures, like of like murders and things like that. And my mom thought there was just something wrong with me. She was like, where are you getting these ideas? Like, we don't let you watch violent shows. Like, you know, they only let me really watch cartoons and like Sesame Street and stuff. And so my mom was like, you know, where are you getting these ideas? And I would say, this was the bad man, and this is what, you know. And I remember like trying to tell her what was going on in the pictures, and she was like scared. She was like, I don't want you drawing anything like that. Like, the next time you draw something like that, you are grounded. You know, you can draw angels, you can draw, you know, your favorite cartoons, but you cannot draw bad things. And I was like, okay. Like, and so I always felt like, but I want to put what's going on, you know, onto paper, and I have no idea where I was getting those thoughts. New Age said, we lived on a country lane with nothing but 5 houses and then orchards, and I'd see dark shadows a lot. Ooh, that gives me like the goosebumps. You know, my brother was terrified of this entity that lived on the 2nd floor of our old home. And I would say I had like, that house was a major block for me. Like, when, even though when I moved out and everything like that, anytime I had nightmares, I was trapped inside that house, and I was trapped with the spirits, and I was trapped with everything scary. And then finally, it took a lot of dreams to be able to finally make peace with that house and feel not attached to that house anymore. And so, like, I remember the dreams specifically where I wasn't scared anymore. And I do remember the dreams where I was very scared of that house. And so, like, in my dreams, it would always be, I'm walking into my bedroom, the light is on in my room, and the light goes off, which happened actually a lot. You know, I would put a brand new light bulb in my bedroom about once a week, and I would even switch out lamps, and it wouldn't matter. The light bulb would always burst in my room. Even tried different sockets, you know, because could have been faulty wiring. You know, but it was just in my room, like nobody else's room. And so, you know, I would walk in and in reality, the light would burst and I would feel all of a sudden like I was surrounded in my bedroom, and it would be claustrophobic with like, I knew that there were spirits around me and I could hear them all talking at once. It would sound like a, you know, it was just like in my ears, and I would freak the hell out, you know, as like a kid. And I'd be like, ah, you know, and I go run out of my room and I would grab the family dog, you know, our dog Precious. I'd be like, Precious, come with me. And our dog was like freaking scared. Like the dog was always like, I don't want to go in there. New Age said, I also remember telling my mom or Nan about the people on the road that were killed, and they have shadows that scare people in their cars. I don't think I was believed much as I watched horror a lot. Yeah, with like, same like with my pictures. It was like, I was just like making up crazy stuff, which my mom's like, don't think of those things. And how are you even thinking of those things? I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, so finally in my dreams, I would have the same nightmares as I had, like they were actual real memories of like walking into the room, the lights bursting. I could feel the spirits around me. I hear, you know, and it's like I'm reaching for the lamp and I can never get to the lamp. I feel like I'm being held back. Like I wanna get to the lamp. Keith, how are you? Late to the party as usual? No problem. Just talking about getting through some childhood blocks of seeing spirit and things like that. Okay, so I had this, you know, in my nightmare, I'm in my house again. I see spirits everywhere, really scary. There's orbs everywhere. And they're telling me I can never leave the house, that when I pass away, I'm going to be stuck in the house too, just like they're stuck in the house, like everybody's stuck in the house. Keith is good. Well, good to hear. I am well. Just talking about my dreams that finally released me from my old house. Sorry, I have an eyelash. I have lots of eyelashes. They like to fall into my eyeballs. Hold on. Did we get it? Did we get it? Okay, we're good. And I'm reaching for the front door because I want to escape the house. And I remember I'm like floating, reaching, and I'm like, I can make it, I can make it. And I can feel all the spirits behind me. And finally at some point I turned around and I faced them. Instead of trying to claw my way to the front door, it was like I stopped, I turned around, and I faced them all and I hugged every one of them. Like I gave them all a hug, and I like didn't even want to look at them, but I was like, I love you so much. I love you too. Like, let's be besties. And I was doing that with all the ghosts. I was like this is in my dream, by the way. So sorry, I have an eyelash. Give me just a second. Okay. Okay, we're good. And so I remember I was just like, I love you so much, let's be friends, like let's all party. And all of a sudden the dream changed. Like the tension, the feeling of being held changed. There was light in the house now. It wasn't dark and dreary like it normally was in reality. It was light, and all of a sudden we were throwing a party in my house, and it was a party and me and all the spirits are dancing, and like, you know, and we're showing off our dance moves, and I'm like, go grandma, you know, like, hey, weird scary person, all right, yeah, hello monster guy, yeah, you know, because everybody was like still like looked creepy, but I wasn't creeped out anymore. And it was like, oh, okay, you know, hey, you know, so we had this dance party. And since that dream, I have never had a nightmare in that house ever again. And I don't feel, and a lot of my fear of spirit disappeared, like after I was able to finally fix those because I had those nightmares like ever since I left the house. Like I would have these nightmares, and ever since that dream I have not had those nightmares anymore, and my ability to not be fearful of spirit was like, whoo. Light of Rigo, whoa, the house was only scary because of your perceptions. Yes, both my brother and I were like totally totally scared of that house. New Age said, I watched a lot of horror, Freddy, and I remember Twin Peaks. Oh my god, Twin Peaks. When I was 10, I loved that show, but I think my family thought I was just acting up. I wasn't. Exactly. I think that's for a lot of us. So yeah, but there were a lot of things that were I guess, well, you know what? If I was put into that house now, everything that I saw and heard, like I have the tools and the know-how now to help it calm down. I believe that I could have calmed that house down. I believe that I would have been able, instead of running away from the spirits that were in there, instead of you know, just like trying to yell some prayer at them, you know, like yelling the Our Father or something like that, um that I think if I just sat down and like tried to talk to them, like, why are you trying to scare us? Like, what's the problem? What's the issue? What are you trying to communicate? And talk to them like a normal person, which is what I do now. That I don't think that house would have had all the issues that it did. My dad and my mom also knew that there was stuff going on, but they were like, nope, nope, nothing going on, even though they'd be like, what's that? No, 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 nothing going on, nothing here. But yeah, so I was just grabbing my tea. But I remember my brother was really scared of this entity upstairs. And I was scared of whatever's up there, but I just couldn't see it. I could feel it and I could hear it. My brother would physically be able to see it. And so I remember when my, well, I guess I'll tell you guys the story, because I've told my brother's story plenty of times, but you know, I think it's a good, it's an interesting story. So, okay, so this is around the time the movie The Sixth Sense came out. So this gives you like a time frame, right? Of what year this is. So I was in high school. My brother is 6 years younger than me. So he would have been in elementary school. And so at the time The Sixth Sense was coming out, my mom had started going back to community college to see if she could try and finish, which she never did. So she was going back to Southwestern Community College. My dad started working a little bit later. So my duty was to cook dinner and put food on the table, clean the house, you know, make sure my brother gets fed and all that stuff, you know. So I had to be like the mom of the house. And so I remember I sat my brother down for dinner, and you know, and I was like trying to keep my dad's food warm while he because he had just gotten home, but he was taking a shower. So my brother and I are at the dinner table. New Age says you were like Lydia from Beetlejuice and Dancing with the Ghosts. Yes, I was. Dude, totally. In my dream. I remember I was sitting down next to my brother, like I had just sat down, and my brother and I are both watching the commercial for The Sixth Sense, you know, that it's coming soon, you know, to theaters, you know, and whatever date it was going to be airing. And my brother's like, whoa, you and I need to go see that. And I was like, yeah, it's like, because we love scary movies. And I was like, yeah, we need to go see that. You know, let's see if Papa will get us, you know, take us to the movie theater. And we start to eat. My brother's like, yeah, that movie's probably gonna be so cool. You know what? He's all, I wanna watch the movie because I wanna see what that boy does. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I wanna see like how he deals with the ghosts. And I was like, okay. And then my brother's like, okay, can I tell you something and you promise you won't make fun of me? And I was like, well, that all depends. You know, just being the whatever jerk big sister that I am. And my brother's like, no, he's really like, you gotta promise me that you won't make fun of me. And I was like, okay, what? And he's like, okay. He says, you know how Papa always makes fun of me about going to the bathroom upstairs, and he always makes me go to the bathroom upstairs because he says I'm like scared, and he tells me it's Felix the ghost, and he says how I always have to take Precious, and Precious is scared, and we're all scared, and he's like, and I don't want to go up there. Hey Kelly, people always fear the unknown and something they don't understand. Exactly. So I was like, okay, so what about going to the bathroom upstairs? And he's like, I'm scared of trigonometry. Yo, me too. That's probably why I never excelled in it. And so he started telling me, he says, I see grandma. And I was like, what do you mean you see grandma? And he's like, you know, at grandma's funeral, I saw grandma. And I'm like, everybody saw grandma at grandma's funeral. He's like, no, not her body. He's all, I saw grandma looking at grandma's funeral. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, he says, okay, you know how mama was crying and everybody was crying and like you were crying, but I like wasn't crying, and then mama yelled at me for not crying because she said that I was disrespecting grandma by not crying. But he's like, I didn't need to cry because I could see grandma. Like, she was looking at me. Yes, and some are closed-minded about stuff also. Yes. And he's like, he says, she was looking at everyone, but then she saw that I was looking at her and she looked directly at me. And he's all, and I got really scared. So he says, I saw her again. He goes, I don't remember like too much, but he says, I saw her again when we were at the gravesite. And he said that, you know, when we were going to put basically, you know, her casket in the ground. And he says, and she was looking at herself. You know, we had the lid open one last time. And he's like, and she was looking at herself. And I was like, grandma was looking at herself? And he's like, yeah, she was looking at herself and she was looking at us. And he says, do you remember when I was like clinging to your dress and I was like behind you? And I said, I thought you were just trying to hug me. And he's like, no, I was kind of a little bit scared, but I didn't know what to do. And then we all started heading towards the cars, and she didn't move. She stayed there, and we all got back in our cars and we were going to leave, and she still stared at me. And he says, I don't remember like how she got into our house. He's all, but all of a sudden she was like in our house. And I was like, well, this was grandma's house. And he's like, well, you know, and then I said, like, where do you see grandma? Like, what's grandma doing? What does grandma have to say? And he's like, well, she sometimes goes into your room to kiss you goodnight, and she comes into my room, but I'm always really scared. So I sometimes yell at her and I tell her to leave because she sometimes just shows up in my doorway. He goes, which is why I'm always trying to throw things at the door, you know, because he used to sleep with Christmas lights around his bed like all year round, and he would ring the lights around his bed and they were plugged into the wall next to his bed. He had night lights everywhere. He used to sleep with a baseball bat, like his soccer ball, his football, his baseball, like anything he could chuck at the door. And my dad just thought he was like really into sports, which actually my brother is like not. And so he said when he would get scared, he would chuck all these things at the door to make the bad things go away, and sometimes to make grandma go away because sometimes she would scare him. And then New Age said, fear is not real. It's a product of thoughts you create. Danger is real. Fear is a choice. Will Smith. Hey, that is well said. And so he said that he, sometimes she would come in and just like get him to calm down, and then he'd be okay. And they would have a conversation. And I was like, so what do you guys talk about? He goes, well, grandma doesn't talk with her mouth, and I don't talk with my mouth either. It's like she's talking in my brain. Also in West Philadelphia, born and raised. Nice, Lighterraga, nice. And so he said that mostly, he says he didn't remember all the conversations, but he says sometimes when he was walking up the stairs, grandma would appear next to him on the stairs and he'd be like, ah! You know, but then he says she walks on the ground like we do. Like, it's like she's a real person. It's like she's on the ground and walking. And he says, and the person in the hallway, she tries to protect me from. And she said that as long as I'm in the guest bedroom upstairs, I'm okay, because at one point when the house was partially blessed by a priest, like, that's the only room that's really a good room. And plus it's the room that all the spirits come in. And I was like, whoa. I was like, what else does grandma say? And he says, grandma said that the man upstairs is a bad omen. And then he's like, what's the word omen mean? And I'm like, holy crap, my brother's using vocabulary he doesn't even know. And I was like, omen just means something bad. And he's like, oh, well, grandma said you're gonna be okay when you grow up. And she said I'm gonna be like okay, but she's like gonna hang out with me for a while. But she said, yeah, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna grow up, you're gonna be okay. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so hey, tell you what, if you see grandma around me, don't tell me. And he's like, okay. And I knew my grandmother was in that house, because she would move things. I would feel her, you know, and I'd just be like, Grandma, leave me alone. Stop it. Because I used to be so scared. Like there was a music box on top of the microwave where it wouldn't be open, but it would just start playing the, what was it called, the Teddy Bear's Picnic or something like that. Yeah, so, you know, but my brother was always so scared, probably because my dad made him feel bad about it, and like, oh, like that stuff's not real, and if it is, you know, it's something to be feared, and you know, stuff like that. And I remember that he really was fearful of this person upstairs. He used to draw pictures of this red man, and I told my brother, I was like, tell me about this red man. And he says, well, the red man, he kind of looks like a farmer. You know, he's got like a farmer hat, and he's got like overalls, and he glows red. And he doesn't look like grandma, where grandma looks like you and me. And he says, sometimes grandma looks like really young, and she's dressed in a big white hat, and she's got a big white dress on, but sometimes she's wearing the dress she wore in her casket. And he's like, but the red man always looks the same, and he's got sunglasses on, but they're like little round sunglasses. And he says, and he floats, like his toes don't touch the ground, but grandma walks on the ground, but he doesn't walk on the ground. And he just goes back and forth in the hallway, and he tries to scare me. And I was like, well, I tell you what, I said, you let me know when this fool be messing with you. I said, because nobody messes with my little brother. I was like, I don't care if it's a ghost or what the hell it is. I was like, you let me know when this thing messes with you. I said, because, you know, I was really protective of him. And so I'm like not scared when I'm trying to protect somebody else, but when something's like with me, I'm like, you know, well, when I was younger. And so I remember one day he was like taking out the trash, and it was the middle of the day, and he's standing out in the driveway looking up at the second story. And I was like, and my brother's name was also Brian, which is the same as my boyfriend's name, but I was like, Brian, what are you looking at? And he's like, it's the red man again, and he has a knife. And I was like, well, okay, you know what? I'm freaking tired of this red man. I was like, come on. So I grabbed my brother, and my mom's like, where are you going? And I was like, Brian says he sees a ghost upstairs, and it's been scaring him. And I was like, and I'm gonna go up there, and I'm gonna make it go away. And my mom's like, she's like, oh my gosh, it's probably the devil, and we need to get the Bible. And I was like, well, screw the Bible. Like, I can make it go away. I'm pretty sure I can, you know. So we're going up there, and we go into the sewing room, which that was the coldest room in the house. Like it always was, that one corner upstairs room. And it's the one with all the windows and all the sunlight. And it's the coldest room in the house. And I was always uncomfortable. Like something always made me feel like I need to leave right now. And so I'd always be like, oh, I'm all done here. Time to leave. So I went in there. The room was icy, and we go in there, and both me and my mother were like looking at each other, and my mom's like, we need to recite the Lord's Prayer. So she's reciting the Lord's Prayer or whatever, and I'm asking my brother, okay, where is it? And he's like, he's in the corner. So I'm in the corner, and I'm like trying to feel around. I was like, I don't feel anything. Like, where is it? He says, he's trying to stab you, Tara. He's trying to stab you. He's trying to hurt you. And so I was like, under my breath, I was like, listen here, you fucker. I was like, don't you mess with my brother. I was like, I said, you try to mess with me, and that's fine. I was like, but don't you mess with my brother. I was like, you get out of this house, like right now. You know, I was like, my brother's like, he's going away. He's going away. I was like, yeah, that's right. I was like, that's right, bitch, you run. I was like, you get out of my house. You know, and so, and then my brother was like, he's gone, and he was so happy, and I was like, that's right, you don't mess with big sister. I was like, that's right. And so my brother really wasn't bothered by him, you know, much after that. And so I told my brother, I said, next time he bothers you, you stand up to him. You stand up to him like I stood up to him, and you just tell him that this is not your house and you need to leave. And so let's see, Kelly said, and people create the fear of witchcraft and all that comes with it from what people say or what they see in movies. Yeah, a lot of it's like just conditioned fear, you know, fear of certain religions or certain people's past, or fear of the unknown, you know, like you guys were saying. Light Raga, he went to get his homies. He probably did, but you know, I think it was at that point I realized that, you know, we could have somewhat control over what we allow into our homes. You know, although I hadn't quite figured it all. I mean, I was still a teenager, so I hadn't like figured that out much yet, but I did know that, you know, I could tell something to leave and it would leave. And I was like, instead of me going, oh my God, you know, and me getting scared and me leaving, you know, I would leave the room. Whereas after that, it was like, wow, I can tell them to leave and they'll leave. And so I remember when I was hanging upstairs, and my mom decided to hang out with me upstairs in the spare bedroom, which used to be my mother's old room when she was a kid, and it was my grandma and grandpa's house. My brother came upstairs, and my brother whispered to me, and he's like, Tara, he says, do you see them all? And I was like, see who? And he says, in the corner of the room, there's like a bridge, and he told me there's like a road that goes out from that corner, even though we were on the second story, and it went out and he could see it out the window. And it was basically like a conveyor belt, and all the spirits were coming in from this conveyor belt through that corner of the room. And that's how they entered our house. And my brother's like, can you see them outside? He goes, they're all lined up. Can you see them? They're all on the road to come into the corner. And I'm like, I don't see them. And I don't think I feel anything in the room. And my brother's like, well, I can see them, and that's how they come in. But they're okay. And so I was like, oh, okay. You know, and I told my mom, and I was like, hey, Brian says that there are spirits that come in through the corner. And my mom's like, oh, only angels can, you know, you could probably only see angels. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I was like, well, I said, you know, so I told my brother, I believe you, you know. And so I was like, do you see grandma? You know, and for once we weren't scared, you know, because I think we were being a lot more open with each other about what we were seeing and feeling. And so I wasn't scared. And so and my brother's like, yeah, grandma did show up. And I was like, hey, grandma. And for once I like wasn't scared. And I was like, well, I can't see you right now, but, you know, I just want you to know, like, we love you. We miss you. I guess, you know, even though I said that I didn't want anything in my room, I was like, I guess, you know, if you want to come into my room and like say goodnight, like that's okay with me now, you know? And so, yeah, so those were like little mini steps, you know, that we were taking back in the day, you know, to not be scared anymore. Let me see. I have so many stories of that house, mostly based out of fear, but I do know that if I went back now, totally probably wouldn't be scared anymore. Lida Riga was wondering if my brother still has his abilities. I believe that he does, but my brother is terrified of them. Like, my brother has kind of turned into my father, where he's decided he believes that that's all silliness. Maybe it wasn't real. That if you see that stuff, you're crazy. And when he does like have spirit try to communicate with him, my brother has turned unhealthy eating and alcohol, because he thinks that the more he doesn't take care of his body, the harder it is for him to feel and hear them and see them. So my brother's way of with all of that and to shut it off was to basically not take care of his body, to destroy his body. And he has luckily cut back on his drinking, but you know, for a while there he was drinking pretty heavily to, you know, chase the demons from his past and spirits. So not actual demons, but you know, the spirits and you know, his issues and things like that. New Age said, I've never gone into a room that's been icy cold like that. I've been in rooms that have 1,000 eyes in it just watching you and things move, but no ice cold. I've been in rooms too where you feel like everybody's watching you and you're like, hello, hello everyone. There was, well, yeah, maybe I'll share it with you guys because maybe you guys have some insight, but there's something that happened to me at the house once that I even now, with all the books I've read and all my experiences, I've still never really been able to figure out. So maybe I'll share this with you guys. And New Age said that's how they lure you in. Nice warm rooms. Then shit gets crazy. Then you're like, okay, so here we go. Okay. Um, I remember the nightmare I was having. So I was probably like 16 years old at the time. And I was having a nightmare, and in my nightmare, I'm being chased by monsters, but it's like, it's like movie monsters. It's like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, well, not Swamp Thing, but like whatever the creature, all these things. Um, and so I'm being chased in my dream, and I remember I'm like running, 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 and I'm running through this dark forest, and it's dark, and that's really the only part of the nightmare I remember for my memory. And so, uh, and I wake up from this dream, and I'm in my bedroom, and I know I'm not dreaming again, because every time I close my eyes, the nightmare's still going on. I'm like, holy shit, so I open my eyes, and I'm like, calm down. And so I go to move, and like I can't move, and I'm like, and this would actually happen a lot in that house. Never happened outside the house, but when I was in that house, I would have a lot of that sleep paralysis. Um, and so I'm like, crap, not again. Where like I can't move. And so I look down at the foot of my bed, because I'm sleeping on my back. And it looks like what could only be described as downtown New York, with like tons of businessmen and stuff, like all in their overcoats. And it looks like just businessmen, and it's like a street full of people, like walking around the foot of my bed, like back and forth, like out one wall, in one wall, out the other wall. And it's like downtown New York going on at the foot of my bed. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm like, maybe I'm still dreaming. So I like close my eyes, nightmare's still going. Okay, nightmare's still going on, never mind. So I keep my eyes open, and I'm like, okay, so there's and like what I'm seeing wasn't scaring me. It was just like confusing. Like, why is New York at the bottom of my bed, at the foot of my bed? And then I kind of like look over, because I can't really move much, and there's this woman sitting on the edge of my bed, and she's like outlined in green. She's not really filled in, she's just outlined in green, and she's got a smile on her face, and she seems really nice, and I seem comforted by her. But she's like, looks like the 60s. She's got like the 60s hair with the little flip at the bottom. She's got a sweater with some initials that I don't really remember now. She had some plaid like clam digger pants, and but it's all glowing green, like everything's green. And she's leaning over to kiss me on my head, and I'm like what is going on? And I'm like, okay, so I got freaking downtown New York happening at the foot of the bed. I got glowing green woman sitting on the edge of my bed, like trying to kiss me goodnight or something. And every time I close my eyes, there's still a nightmare going on where I'm being chased by demons. And so I decided, once I like was able to get one arm free, it took all the strength I had to like get my hand to move a little bit. I'm like, "Urgh," and I'm like throwing the covers over my head. And I decided to like keep my eyes open with the covers over my head until I felt like everything had just settled down and gone away. And I was like, what was that? And I eventually obviously fell back to sleep, but I was like so scared to go back to sleep. I'm like, what is going on in my bedroom? So I don't know what that was. Even to this day, I don't know what that was. Yeah, I don't know. You guys got any ideas? That would, I don't know. I don't know what that was. So green lady, like businessmen all going to work at the foot of my bed, like it was a busy street, but it's my bedroom. And I'm like got a nightmare that's like still going on, but I'm like can't really go back to sleep, and I was having sleep paralysis. So yeah. That was like one of the many interesting things that had happened in that house. Um, I remember another time I had my door partially open. I used to sleep with the door closed. I don't know, I just felt like I was shutting things out. But so my door was partially open, and I had started to fall asleep, and I was like kind of looking up at my ceiling, and there was like light, there was like a light streak, a little bit of light on my ceiling from out in the hallway, because my dad was like brushing his teeth. My mom had already gone to bed. My brother was already in bed, and like all our bedrooms were kind of like together. And I remember it looked like the shadow of a cockroach on my ceiling. So I just figured that maybe there was actually a cockroach in my room, and maybe like due to the light and everything, it was like casting a shadow, you know, up on the ceiling, because otherwise on the ceiling, it took up like a quarter of the ceiling. Like it was a big shadow, and I was like, whoa, I'm like, it must be a pretty good sized cockroach, you know? So I was like, ew, there's a cockroach in my room, you know? So I got up, and I'm trying to use my hands to figure out like where the shadow's being cast, you know, so that if I put my hand over and I could see my hand like across the cockroach's shadow, like I could find the cockroach, right? So I'm looking, but I'm realizing that it's like it's impossible, you know, for that shadow to be coming from my bedroom, just due to the small angle of light that's in there. And it looked like a different type of darkness than the rest of the darkness of the bedroom. And I was like, and all of a sudden my room started getting really cold, and I was like, not again. And so I got up and I ran over to my mom, and I was like trying to shake my mom, and my mom was like such a heavy sleeper. Like you couldn't wake her up for anything. Like even when we had a fire in the house, like she just like doesn't want to wake up. And so I'm like, Mama, Mama, there's something on my ceiling. It's in my bedroom. And my mom's like, ah. And I'm like, no, Mama, Mama, wake up. No, there's something on my ceiling. And she's like, ah, you know, so my mom wouldn't wake up. And I was like, and I didn't want to bother my dad with it, because you would just get in trouble if you told my dad that stuff. You know, he would tell you that you're making up stuff and you're grounded. And my brother's already asleep, and I was like, God damn it. And I'm like, I was like, okay. So I went in my room. I was like, okay, whatever's in here, you need to leave now, because I want to go to bed. And like, I felt like the room kind of alleviate a little bit of any creepiness. And I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. So yeah, that was like, there's a couple of things that, you know, going on there. So I don't know, like thoughts, you know, kind of a couple of weird stories that have like always stuck with me, you know, from that house. But like I said, you know, I'm pretty sure if I went back that now, it'd be like, this house is so not scary. You know, there was probably just like a lot of spirits that just like, you know, needed help or just wanted to be listened to, you know, and my brother and I were probably just like blowing them way out of proportion, like seeing them through fearful eyes instead of like, you know, what they actually were. We're just, you know, spirits. So, so I don't know. But anyway, I don't know what you guys might be thinking, Sea Light Arega. I think your house needed a constant ohm generator to keep the portals at bay. You know, if only I had what I have now and just had the ohms playing 24/7, you know, actually knew what house clearings were and just like cleared my house every once in a while, and maybe just like spoke to them like normal human beings instead of, you know, yelling at them to get back, you know, from, you know, gosh, we were so scared as kids, you know. But I think my brother and I, mostly me, you know, we also had we had a difficult childhood. And so I think that there was just a lot of fear being in my home, like fear of my parents, fear, you know, because there was a lot of rottenness going on too. So I think that I was just surrounded by fear in general, you know, that I was scared of everything. And I think that that was just translating into stuff that I also didn't understand. So it was just like fear compounded, basically. Maybe you can go back and talk to the kid self and tell her about Palo Santo. You know, I'm like, okay, kid, Palo Santo, it's good. Need it, know it, use it. You know, I should go back with tools and be like, okay, you can use this and you can use this. But yeah, so this has been some, you know, lively storytelling conversations. It's been all story time. You know, I do have a story about the last time I saw my grandmother. It was in my dream, and she told me it would be the last time that she would come visit me. And I think that she does now. Like she's done a couple of times since, but it's more been like a scent just to let you know, like that I'm here with your grandfather, and then they were out, you know. So it's just like a we're still here, you know, kind of thing. But I had this dream. This was when I was still living in my old apartment with my boyfriend, my current boyfriend, and our old cat Presley. And in my dream, I was laying in our bed, and it's like I woke up, but I'm in my dream, you know. New Age said some people say that sleep paralysis is connected to spiritual downloads. Other people say it's demon attack and not hallucinations. Yeah, I don't really know what that is. I haven't experienced it since that house, so I don't know. Who knows? um, but anyway, in my dream, I sit up in bed and there's this dark smoke coming from the corner of my bedroom. And I'm not scared, and right away I know that it's my grandma. And I was like, hey, grandma. And like at that moment in my dream, she's not the black smoke, but she's sitting next to me on my bed. Only had it once, but it felt like demons to me. Interesting. Um, I've always been terrified. Well, when I was a kid, I was always terrified when I had that sleep paralysis. Like I always felt like something that shouldn't be there was there. I was always like, ah. um, but anyway, so my grandma's sitting next to me in my dream. And I wrote this down, by the way, because anytime I have like really powerful dreams, I always write them down because I'm like, she sat next to me, and I'm glad I have it written down because I don't really remember what happened after that. But somehow we wound up, we wound up in my parents' bedroom of my old house, but it was empty this time. Like there was no furniture. The house was cleared out. New Age said, I watched someone on YouTube talk about her paralysis and she was scared, but there was no demon. She said it was more higher intelligence. Interesting. So we're in my parents' old bedroom, and the rest of the house is dark, but it's not scary anymore. And there's like a single light shining down on the bed, you know, and my grandmother and I are like laying on the bed, like talking, like we're having a slumber party. And my grandmother asked me, she said, why are people so scared of seeing us, of seeing, I'm your grandma, but why would people be scared to see me? And I said, well, because I said, well, like seeing you in my dream, like that's okay. I said, but I think because a lot of people know that you're not here anymore, that you're dead, I think that people can't deal with seeing you again, knowing that you're physically gone. And I said, I think that's why a lot of people are scared. And my grandmother was like, oh. And she says, I just don't understand why people are scared. It seems silly. And I was like, I don't know. I said, I like talking to you in my dreams though. And she's like, yeah. And she says, well, what if I did this? And she disappeared, but I could faintly hear her voice. And she's like, how about now? And I'm like, no, grandma. And she says, like, in your waking life, what if I did this, if she was just a voice? And I said, I don't know if I'm okay yet, with voices. Like I said, because I have so much blockage from, my cousin that had auditory schizophrenia. I said, I think I would fear that I have that too if I just heard voices. And so she's like, okay, what about this? And she turned into my mother. Lida Rega said, I think it's modern westernized thing, and Native Americans don't think twice about dead grandmas. Yeah. And so, she turned into my mom, and I was like, no. I was like, grandma, me and mama do not get along. Like, like, no. And she was like, okay. Because she was like, what if I spoke through your mother? And I was like, no, no, no. And I was like, tell you what, I was like, you could try to start like appearing to me in my waking life, and we'll just see how it goes. And she's like, okay. She says, we could try that. And I was like, grandma, I was like, do you like Brian? My boyfriend. And she was like, of course, we all love him. And I was like, who's all we? She said, everybody. We all love him. She goes, he's perfect for you. And I was like, yes. And I was like, I really like him too, grandma. And I was like, I said, do you think like even though I don't really think I want kids, I was like, do you think we'll eventually have kids, or are we just gonna like have cats, or like, and she was like, I can't talk about the muffins before the cake. And I was like, so we are gonna get married. And she was like, it might take a while. And I was like, okay. And I was like, grandma, do you guys like know everything? Like, do you know like my future and everything? And she was like, well, over here there's no time, so it's all happening at once. So in a sense, yes, I do know your future. I do know how everything's going to play out. And I was like, well, like, can you tell me? She's like, no. I was like, well, that's crappy. Well, what good are you? She was like, and I was like, okay, well, oh, I said, there's a question I've always wanted to ask you in my dreams, but I always freaking forget. And I was like, what's the meaning of life? And my grandmother just burst out laughing. And she was like, sweetie, she was like, if I told you that, what would be the point of living? And I was like, true that, Grandma. uh, Light of Rag is like, lot of numbers at least. I know, right? Like, help a granddaughter out. So, hold on, let me go back. Kelly said, I had a house where the room was always sunny and cold too, and it felt strange being in it. And it was my kids' room, and they wouldn't sleep there, and they always slept with me. Yeah, ooh. Room probably needed clearing. Probably in my old house it needed clearing too. House needed a lot of clearing. Probably needed us to clear out. Okay, so so like my grandma's like, yeah, what would be the point of living, you know, if she told me? And I was like, oh. And then I said, okay, I said, I'm so curious. I was like, you know, because obviously I'm not dead yet, so I don't know, but I was like, or maybe I did know and I just don't remember, but I was like, what's it like over there? You know, what's it like beyond like what I can see? And, you know, because this was like a deep conversation. I'm glad I wrote all this down. But I was like, you know, I said, did any religion get it right? And I was like, is it, you know, and she says, many are close. And she says, but it's not about being right. And I was like, well, but like, is there like, you know, like a lot of the big religions think that there's like a God and that there's like, you know, and we all go to heaven and like bad people go to hell. And I was like, is it kind of like that or is it not? I said, because I don't feel like it's like that. And she's like, no. She says, it's different levels. And she says, and what you might consider God is really all of us together. She goes like, and I was like, she was like trying to explain. She's all like, okay, imagine a ball of energy. And she says, and everybody that you love and everybody who has ever passed away and anything else is all in this ball. And she says, and we all know everything about everything. We all share our information. So she says, everything I know about you, everybody else knows about you. And she says, and everything about myself, everybody knows, and we all know the instant that we know. And I was like, okay. So it's like a source energy kind of thing. She's like, kinda. And she says, it also, I have the ability to be everywhere at once. You know, we all do because we're all connected. She goes, we're all connected energy. And she says, so I could be having a conversation with you in your dream right now, but I could also be hanging out with your brother right now. And I could also be watching over your father. And I could also be looking at your mother, my daughter, you know. She says, I could be many places at once. And she says, and also through the eyes of other people, like let's say there's another spirit who's watching you, I can see through their eyes and I know at once everything that they know. And she goes, we just know everything at once. We're all connected. And I'm like tripping in my dream. I was like, wow, that's like kind of sort of what I thought, but I was like, wow. I was like, and she says, it's a lot. She goes, that's really simplified, but I think that's how that we all share the same knowledge. We're all everywhere at once. We all know everything about everything. The instant that one of us knows it, we all know it. And she was like, and so there is no time, there is no beginning, middle, and end. It's just all at once, everything. And I was like, oh. And then my grandmother was like, you know what, sweetie, your alarm is about to go off in about a minute. So she goes, I gotta wrap this up. I gotta get going. And I was like, no, Grandma. We're having such a good conversation. You know, and so she was like, you know, she goes, I'll come back and see you one more time. And she did. She came back in one more dream. And that was the dream where she She appeared on the street, which this is when I was still living in my apartment and I didn't live in the house that I'm living in now. In fact, this house wasn't even for sale and wasn't even on my radar yet. But I now know, when I go back and think about that dream, she was standing on the street that I'm living on now. So she was standing on the street and it was bright white light, but I recognize the street now. And I know that there was tons of people behind her, but I couldn't see their faces. It was just, everybody was like a light being and everything was white. And my grandmother was in the center. And my grandmother was letting me know, she says, this is the last time I'll be visiting you in your dreams. And I was like, why? Like, did I do something wrong? And she went, no, you're doing everything absolutely right. She said, you don't need me anymore. She says, I don't need to worry about you, basically. She says, I'll always be watching over you. Know that I can always see what you're doing. I'll check in from time to time, but as far as dreams go and being able to meet like this, I'm not going to be able to do that with you anymore. She says, you're going to be perfectly fine. I love Brian. We love your cats. Your cat, well, at the time it was Presley. We love your cat. And she was like, he's quite the character. And she says, and we all love him over here. And she says, but I'm going to be watching mostly over your brother. I'm a little concerned about him. She says, so your brother needs a little bit more help, but that's okay. We're here to help him. And she says, and that's where I'm mostly going to be spending my time, is with your brother. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I was like, hey, that's cool. I was like, so I guess I'll see you later. And I wasn't sad in my dream. I was like, okay, well, that's cool, Grandma. And she was like, so she goes, just know I love you so much. I love Brian so much. I love your brother. I'll be hanging out with him. But she says, I don't need to worry about you anymore, sweetie. And she was like, you just keep living your life, doing what you're doing. She goes, everything is going to be okay. Your life is going to be okay. And I was like, okay. And I haven't dreamt of my grandmother since, but, yeah, so those were two really like powerful dreams I had with my grandmother. But yeah, that totally like blew my mind, just like her telling me about, like, in simplified terms, what she was trying to describe spirits and things like that. So I don't know. Yeah. So what do you guys think? I've been rambling over here. So rambly. Light of Riga said, wow, thanks for showing those stories. Really powerful. Yeah, they were. The moment I woke up, I was like, I gotta write this down, so I have felt my grandmother like a couple of times popping in, like once, like right after my grandfather passed away. And this was interesting because it was both Brian and I knew that there was something going on. So we were just ready to fall asleep. And it smelled like old car. Actually, more specifically, it smelled like my grandfather's old car. And it smelled like cigarettes, which my grandmother, every time I smell Marlboro Reds, I know it's my grandma. And my grandfather smells like old car. And so, like, in the room, it just became powerful, just like old car, cigarettes. And Brian and I were both like, what the heck? And Brian's like, what is going on? I was like, immediately, I was like, it's my grandma and grandpa. And as soon as I said that, the smell was gone. And Brian was like, I don't know, everything crazy always happens around you. And he like went back to bed. And it was nice, because it was nice to know that my grandma and grandpa were together again. So okay, Angela said, amazing dreams, so powerful. Yes, they were. Tash said, that's an interesting perspective of the spirit world. Yeah, I think it's just, it kind of goes along with, some of my beliefs, but it was just like, yeah, and kind of what she said about religion too, that it's not about a religion having it right. It's not about being right. She just kept saying, it was just like, she says, it's just that you basically just be a good person, try to learn as much as you can, and you can believe whatever it is that you want to believe, and it's not a bad thing, so. Wayward Sun said, still listening, thanks for hanging out at this creepy ass hotel with me. You are welcome. Okay, let's see. Whoa, going to 83 minutes. So you're saving my sanity today. Ooh, you're very welcome. Let's do this. First, let's have a drink of some more tea. Yes, 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 yes. Good tea. My Emperor's green tea, calendula flower, and rosehip is excellent. Okay, so this is what I want to do. Since I've been kind of talking about, like we've been just talking about spirits and stories of all kinds of wackiness and fear and you know, that yeah, I agree that we create fear. Fear is pretty much learned. If you don't learn to fear something, you're probably not going to fear it, you know. Like, you know, let's say we're not born fearing snakes, but the moment you get bit by a snake, you probably fear it now, you know, because you don't want to get bit again. Or if somebody told you snakes are bad, be careful, they're scary, they can kill you, then you probably would be fearful of snakes. So, you know, I believe what you guys are saying, you know, about fear, that it's all, you know, anything that we fear of the spirit world or of energies that aren't even, you know, I believe there's other energies besides spirits, you know, that there's a lot of different types of energy on different types of planes, that because we don't understand it, and maybe we've been told that it's not real or it's scary, that, you know, that's why we fear it. Plus past life traumas. Yes, sir. And that's actually, you know, I've been really drawn to past life lately. And so I'm going to do a little bit past life work on myself and see what comes up. I've always wanted to do like actually go to a hypnotherapist and try to do some past life regression. But I've really only kind of done it on myself, but I think it would be really interesting if I actually did it with a professional. So that might be interesting. Tash says, how do you feel about walking around cemeteries? It's contradictory for me, but I like them a lot and say hi to names I see, but I don't like to try to talk to spirits when I feel them around my home. Debbie said, that's awesome. So Tash, I don't mind walking around cemeteries. Like for me, I more let them know I'm not here to disrespect anybody here. You know, I also will say like, oh, hi, you know, and wish you well. And, you know, and sometimes when I come across a grave where I know it was a really young person, you know, I'll tell them, you know, I'm sending as much healing, you know, for you as possible. All my stones just fell on their own. You know, I'll also, if I start to feel them around me, and if I feel like they feel like I'm intruding on their territory, like they don't want me around, I'll tell them, you know, I'm so sorry. I'm really just, I said, I'm not trying to, you know, I let them know I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm just walking around, because I want to, spread my light. I just want to send you love, and that's it. And that's the only purpose I'm walking around the cemetery. Mostly they'll just back off. Some of them want to chit chat, and I will like have a sit down chit chat. As far as spirits in my home, if I feel like they don't want to sit down for a chit chat, that they want to be creepy jerks to me, I will push them out of my house. If they feel like, sorry, I gotta plug my phone in. If I feel like they want to have a talk, you know, I'll sit down and talk with them. But I always let spirits know that this is my house and you can visit, but you can't stay. So you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, you know, so that's always been my motto. And it keeps my house pretty clean and clear, you know. So when we first moved in, it was pretty creepy and there was a lot of poltergeist activity going on here, but now it's pretty chill. It's just filled with a crazy panther, a psychotic puma, my down-to-earth boyfriend and his wacky girlfriend. Let me see. New Age said, I don't believe spirits hang around their old graves. I think they have better places to hang. Me too. I don't believe that there's just spirits like roaming the graveyard. Like I think when I die, like I don't really want to roam around my graves. I'd probably rather be like on a, you know, I'd be like, you know, if I want to hang out like in the spirit world, I'd be like, I'm visiting the beaches, I'm going to Fiji. But I do think that that if you're there, you are feeling like there should be spirits here, I think they feel that call, and then it's like, oh, do you want to talk, you know, things like that. So I think that it's like all that like mental stuff, like I feel like I should be connecting with spirits. Bam, there's going to be spirits that want to connect with you. Let's see. Lida Raga said, same here. They feel dead to me, but I'm not all that sensitive to them. A spirit, that is. Debbie said, oh, please make a video on how to do a past life reading. I could do that. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what I wanted to do with you guys for like maybe the last time that we have, because I want to get ready for my friend's daughter's birthday party. So I was thinking of trying to connect, since I've been really like connecting with spirits lately, and you know, I'm working through all those blocks and really not being scared anymore, but trying to connect with one of the spirits. So I can't do this for everyone because that would take like a lot of energy. But if I could just start connecting to a spirit, it's not like saying, oh, I'm just gonna like, you know, do like Debbie or, you know, Lida Raga or something like that, but just like, I'm gonna connect to a spirit. And then you guys see if that's anyone that you know. You know, so it's just, it'll be just probably the most dominant person coming through first, and then, you know, we'll, you know, just so I could practice, you know, I'm always trying to practice my mediumship skills, and then, you know, just see if that's anybody that you guys know. A lot of times I get people's spirit guides, but I'm going to try not to get, well, I mean, sometimes our loved ones are our spirit guides, but like maybe not try to get somebody's spirit guide, but mostly just like, okay, I just want somebody who they knew who's passed away, and then, you know, just, you know, try to help make a connection, you know, so it's like, oh, hey, you know. So, okay. Said apparently Jeff Burr's wife is the dog's bullocks at regression. That's what I've heard, and I've been actually thinking about maybe getting a past life regression with her. So yes, she is on my radar. Your secret past said, hello, I guess I am late to the party. No problem, no problem. And so I'm just going to, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to try to connect to a spirit. And so oh wow, there's actually light coming in now. I'm just going to ask that this spirit be connected to one of you guys. So it's not like everybody looking at each other like, Then I'm like, okay, well, that went nowhere. So I'm going to try to connect to a spirit, and then see if you guys, that's anybody connected to any one of you guys, because, you know, I like to practice. And so like last week I was practicing connecting to your third eye chakra, which was freaking fascinating. I'm still like trying to figure all that out, you know, seeing what you guys see, which was a trip. You know, green owl, when I said that I saw a person out on a field and it was quiet and it was like greenery everywhere and it was silent, and she had left a message after the video to say that she had gone out and meditated, and I walked into her meditation, I was like, whoa. So yeah, I'm definitely practicing more of like trying to see through people's chakras and you know, and trying to connect through that. So that's pretty cool. So let's practice a little bit of mediumship. So I'm going to try to connect to a spirit. Since I got my aquamarine, hey, why not? Why not try to work with different stones and see what we get? I do have my crystal infused tea here, so let's give it a go. Okay, so just to let you guys know what I'm doing. Hey, Lokester. Let's see, Keith, just in case, can you give me a moment to grab a pen and paper before you start so I can take notes? Absolutely. So if you guys want to grab pens and papers and whatever's your unicorn pens and magical paper, go ahead. I'll, in the meantime, let you know what I do. So maybe if you want to practice, you know, yourself, you know, then by all means, I believe that we all, like, the ability to like feel and sense things, I think, is just innate in us, because I believe animals do it too. So I think it's just a natural thing to do. But, you know, just like with anything, some people, you know, are more talented in some areas. Like some people are, you know, talented track and field runners, you know, some people are talented writers, you know, they have a propensity towards it. but you know, I also believe that you can enhance certain skills that are innate in all of us, but you know, we could practice and make them better. Okay, so what I do, first thing I do is I ground myself. Debbie says, I heard that too. I feel like I need a unicorn pen. I have a treasure trolls pen. um, so I ground, and how I ground is I imagine the roots of the earth coming up, connecting with my roots. So I feel like the trunk of a tree, that I have roots going down, and that there are roots coming up from the earth, and they're intertwining, and I feel like really like grounded and stuck into the earth. And then I imagine all the good and the nutrients and everything from the soil is coming into my roots. So I feel that ultra groundedness. And this is all done mentally. Then I feel like my crown and everything else is opening up, and I always just imagine like glitter coming out of the sky. It's connected now to other realms. And so then I see like this column of light in myself, where I see sparkles coming down and roots coming up meeting earth. So like sparkles and earth, you know, universe and earth. And that's how I connect. And then I imagine that my energy is clear. I imagine my white energy around me, but to me it looks like electricity. So I have like this like snappy lightning electricity around me that protects my energy. Then I ask my my guides, which my two closest guides are Amara and Ulog. One's a dude, one's a lady. One's a dude with like antlers on his head. And I just ask that they help me with the energy, with the messages that come in, so that I'm giving accurate messages. So I ask, you know, and then I ask, you know, whatever spirit, you know, come forward, and then I have them check them out, make sure that they're a spirit that's not like something trickster, and just, you know, just making sure that this is a solid person that, you know, wants to help, so that it's all for healing, that this person's only here for helping others and for possibly helping themselves as well. And then I keep the room pretty clear. I ask, it's my Jesus, Shiva, and Ganesha. I have them work as a trio, and I have that trio kind of march around the room and just keep the room clear, so that anything else that wants to pop in just because they're like silly, like no. So yeah, so it's Jesus, Shiva, and Ganesha. They're my I feel like the three of them work really well together. So yeah, so I call them in. So all this is done mentally, and then I call in the energy. So here we go. So again, more tea. I already feel like there's a lot going on right now, because I am having heart palpitations, and that happens when when either I'm stressed out or I'm having a overabundance of energy. Okay. Okay. And one grounding stone. It's petrified wood, by the way. And I need a unicorn pen. Okay. So I'm going to do everything that I just told you guys I was going to do. Okay, so there are a few spirits lined up. There are a few that seem like they just want to watch from afar, because, you know, not everybody's like super eager, like they want to see like what's going on first. So right now I'm just asking that whatever spirit comes forward is actually connected to somebody who's watching right now, during this live chat. And that it would actually be somebody that they would know, like in this life right now. Okay. And I'm asking that any messages I give will be messages that you will understand. Okay. So there were a few other spirits that wanted to talk, but the spirits are going to allow this younger spirit to come through. I've kind of checked them out because sometimes when people come across as children, they're not actually children. They're kind of playing around, but this is actually a child. He's dressed very well. Dressed like he's going to someplace nice. He's got his little slacks on and like a white button-up shirt. He's got blonde hair, very young, by the way. And I said, "You look like a Benjamin," and he said, "Like a Benjamin Button," but he almost like had an accent. He's like a Benjamin Button." I said, "Yeah, I guess." I said, "Did you go backwards in age?" He's just kind of sitting on my leg. I'm trying to get an age for him. Because he's not giving me an age, so I'm just trying to look at him and like guesstimate an age. I'm guesstimating he's maybe like 5, maybe 6. Definitely not younger than that, but like maybe 5 or 6. Keeps sticking his finger up his nose. I'm like, I'm like, stop putting your finger up your nose. I'm just asking him if he has any messages. He's saying he brought up horses. It's okay to get back up on the horse. I'm asking him if he wants to talk about how he passed, and he shook his head like, no. So that's fine. That's okay. But just, do you want to continue giving messages to this person? And we got the big, like, yes. But he doesn't want to talk about his passing. But he's saying it's okay to get back up on the horse. And he's showing me these pretty little gold earrings, like they're triangles. Some triangle earrings. He's saying if you want to know who moved some things around the house or stole some things, it definitely wasn't the dog or your pet. He goes, it was me, but I wasn't trying to scare you. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to have some fun. And whoever he's talking to, he says he loves you. He's showing me some imagery of like all these crows or ravens like coming out of his chest. And I was like, are you trying to say, and he's like, well, he goes, I am dead. He goes, I am gone. But I don't know really what his symbol is for pulling all the ravens out of his chest. I keep feeling like he has a little bit of an accent, but he's like, ravens and marigolds, ravens and marigolds. So he's showing me that this person possibly is blocked in some way, which is why they get back up on the horse. It's okay to talk about it. Um, it's okay to like ride the horse. It's okay to keep going, basically, moving forward. Um, okay, so there's a couple of spirits that have come to pick him up, so I think he's all done. Um, yeah, so two spirits came to kind of pull him back. Whew. Okay. But yeah, that was interesting. He was such a sweet little boy. He was like so cute. Like he had like this straight blonde hair and yeah, he was really cute. He was a cutie. um so yeah, I don't know like who he might be connected to in here. Um so yeah, I mean he was dressed really well. He seemed like rather small, but he was like five or six maybe. He made the reference to Benjamin Button. Um, he had a cute little button nose. um, Getting back up on a horse, ravens coming out of his chest, just a symbolism. Ravens and marigolds. Um, yeah, and possibly maybe playing tricks around the house with this person and this person blaming it on their pet. But it's him, but he's really doing it out of just trying to have fun and loving this person. Like he actually loves this person. So I don't know. Excuse me. So while you guys, oh, excuse me, kind of figure that out and then let me know. Anybody who's on right now. He had a very nice energy. Lida Raga said, that was really cool. It could be a message for someone who will watch this later. Possibly too. Then hopefully, okay, people who are watching this later, when you watch the replay, if this resonates with you, just put it in the comments section below. Or if you don't want to like let everybody know your business, you can always email me, tara@kittensweightsandtarot.com. You know, so if you would like to have a chit chat, you know, because some people don't like everybody to know their business, so they usually don't like to leave the comments. So I'm totally fine with that. You can always email me. Good tea, by the way. Okay, so I want to pull a couple of cards real quick just to see if I can get some more information on this young man, even though he's gone. Like his energy is already gone, but just sometimes I just like clarity, like, okay, the messages that I gave, like, how can I make that more clear? Okay, so there's that one. Okay, so I got double sevens. I got the 7 of Cups and I got the 7 of Pentacles. But double sevens. Snake eyes. Lucky. Okay, so I'm getting that, you know, I guess I made them as clear as I could. So okay. Well, whoever watches this in the future or is watching right now, I hope you were able to grab your messages. So, okay. I'm going to, actually, if you're wondering what deck I'm using, I've been addicted to my Moon Power Tarot by Charlie Quintero up in Los Angeles. This is an Etsy deck. And I'm just going to pull a message for all of us before we head on out for the weekend for our continue our wonderful Saturdays wherever we are. And then I will just do a little healing at the end, which you don't have to stay for. You know, just be open to the healing at the end and you go about your day. And I hope everybody has a lovely Saturday, even if it's gloomy outside like it is right now. It's still pretty humid out there, so it's still basically t-shirt and shorts weather. It's just overcast. But okay, so what's an overall message that we all need right now? What is a message that we all need right now? Nice. Okay. We got, sorry, we see New Age said, the way he was dressed, was it old time clothing or our time clothing? I guess it was our time. You know, little like khaki slacks, little brown dress shoes, white button up, crisp white button up, long sleeve. I guess, I mean, I guess that's modern clothes. I guess. I don't know. I'm guessing that's pretty modern. Maybe. Maybe modern. I'm like trying to think. There's nothing really on there that suggested it was like 50s style or 60s style. So yeah, I think probably of our era. So anywhere in between, I guess the 80s and now, you know, that'd be like pretty much standard style. Okay, so our message for all of us right now, we got the Sun card, which, Sun, I need you. We have the Sun card. We have the 10 of Cups. I love her rainbow eyeshadow, by the way. And we have the 8 of Cups. You guys can all see that. So looking at our message. Okay, so I feel like there's a lot of us who have made, possibly this week, some decisions, whether you've actually gone into action. Sun, sun, sun. Yes, wayward sun. Wayward sun. Wayward sun, didn't you say you always get the Sun card? But I'm seeing that some of us have made some decisions, either finalized it in our brain, like this is what I'm going to do, or we've actually taken some action towards some decisions this past week. I think I might fall into that category of like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I want to move on and I want to try this, or I want to go down this area. I want to try this out. And this can be in anything. This can be in career. This can be in just in our spirituality. I want to give this a go. So you're leaving some possible beliefs, people, or things behind. This past week. And like I said, I kind of fall into this category. So like when I do a reading, it's like all of us, you know, it's not me like, this is your reading, but like I'm included. So I feel like we've, you know, either mentally made some decisions, actually physically took some action to move away from some things. And it was ultimately the best decision for us because what just an emotional, just feeling so much better emotionally because of this decision. What, even if it's mental, just the mental decision to, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to try this out. Sometimes can just feel so good. And those of us that have taken action, you know, to do something, it's like, you know, this is the right thing. You're on the right path. You're doing a good thing, you know, whatever you've decided to move away from. And sometimes, you know, when we move away from things, no matter what it is, whether it's people or situations, certain emotions or habits that we have, it can be difficult, you know, because we're used to it. But this is our card saying it's a good thing. You know, I know that it may not feel perfect 100%, but emotionally it's the best thing for you. So yeah, that was our message for for all of us. So hopefully some of you guys resonated with that message. And I'm going to close this off with a little healing for you all. Like I said, I got my beautiful aquamarine. And so for my healing, what I do is I send out my healing energy. If you wish to receive it, which you don't have to if you don't want to, not going to hurt my feelings. You know, some people are just very particular about where they get their energy from, and I totally understand. Lighter said, nice, thanks for the reading. That totally resonated. Well, good. I am very happy. So I will send it out. All you have to do is mentally or verbally just be like, I am open to receiving, you know, the healing. And so you just open yourself up. You don't have to be lying down. You don't have to be doing anything particular. You could be going off for a drive, which I hope you're not watching YouTube while you're driving, but maybe listening. So please do not watch YouTube while driving. But you know, maybe you're going for a drive, maybe you're doing the dishes, maybe you are, whatever it is that you're doing, you can go off and do whatever. You don't have to stay, but just be open. And then, you know, I send the energy out. And some people said, how does it work on a replay? Well, I believe that, you know, if there is no such thing as time, if everything loops and everything is infinite, then, you know, if I'm sending something out, then it's always coming out. It's always being sent. So that's just, I don't know, that's just how I think replays work. Let's see, Debbie said, Tara, maybe we could meet up and go get a past life reading from Jeff's wife with Jennifer Ball. Maybe one day. Hey, I'm down. I'm down. I'm down for that. New Age said, I do know a little boy. He passed when he was 5, just before his 6th birthday. His name is Ben. Whoa. He has blonde hair. He passed maybe 3 to 4 years ago. He could have been my cousin. That definitely matches the description. Whoa, you gave me like the goosebumpies right now. Woo! Okay, hold on. Before I do my energy healing, New Age Lunatic, I'm just going to pull a couple of cards just to see if I can confirm. Okay, are you connected to I heard the name Heather, if Heather means anything. Okay, so New Age, these are your cards. I was just asking for confirmation if this is indeed your cousin. And this is the order they came up in. You got the 2 of Pentacles, the World, and the 2 of Cups. So double 2s. And then you got 21. So it's like 3 cards, 2s, 2s, 2s. I'm getting that's probably definitely for you. The World, you know, an ending, but sorry, that was my stomach. You know, so, you know, the World is obviously ending, completion, but not in a way that we feel like the 10 of Swords. So I'm feeling like this might be your cousin. And then these 2 with the 2s, I feel like because, you know, you're always on here with me, and, you know, and I tend to connect to your energy a lot easier. Hey, Cosmic Creeper! Oh my gosh! This is like showing connection, that there is connection, so that I was able to possibly connect to your cousin. So New Age Lunatic, that sounds right about right. If, you know, if I was saying that he was about 5 or 6 years old, modern clothing, blonde hair, cute as a button. You know, so his name Benjamin Button, Ben. Yeah, that possibly could be him. So you know, I will definitely, through this healing energy that I'm going to do right now, send you and your family, obviously, that healing energy, and to your cousin who is on the other side, as I try to send it to, you know, all your loved ones everywhere. So it's not just to you guys, but I'm sending it kind of like out anywhere it can reach. If you guys want this healing energy to go to anybody in particular, or to a certain place, or maybe a certain fur baby or feathery baby or scaly baby, then put their name here, not so that I can see, but just so that the energy of like you saying, I want it to go here, so that energy is out there. I think that when it's spoken or typed out, that it's like, okay, you know, energetically saying that I want this person to receive it, or this place, or these things. So I'm going to be putting out this healing right now. Like I said, you don't have to receive it. You guys can leave now if you want. Go about your day. Have an awesome Saturday wherever you guys are. Go about your business, and just be open to receiving it. That's all you have to say, is mentally just, I'm open to receiving the healing. And I thank all of you that came on today. Thank you so much. I had fun sharing my stories, and yeah, I always have fun connecting with you guys, and you know, having chit chats. And one day, oh, I hope that all of us can just meet up someday and we can have a real face-to-face chit chat. New Age said his birthday was December. He passed about this time of year. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm guessing that has to be him. You know, it makes so much sense. It's, you know, all those connections can't be just random. So, like I said, I'm gonna send him some healing as well. I wonder if I need to tell his mom something and not me. Pass on the information for sure. You know, I don't know who the two people were that you know, took him away, but they seem to be very protective of him. There's a lot of people that are very protective of him. I noticed that spirits are very protective of children, you know, letting them, you know, speak and things like that, just because they don't want them to be hurt in any way. Yeah, I guess whatever you wrote down that I said, you know, just pass it on to his mom maybe, and see, you know, if anything resonates. He was very adamant about getting back up on the horse, and it's okay to talk about it. Yeah, so, and then there was the name Heather. I don't know how that like connects. It makes me think of the TV show Heathers, but I don't know. Yeah, but you know, so as I do this, definitely some for you and your family. Yes, Wayward Son, it's always good to see you guys well. It's good to read your comments. It's good to feel your energy, since I physically don't get to see you guys. But yes, thank you everyone, and thank you, your secret path, everybody who showed up. So here we go. Like I said, you don't have to stay. You can go about your business, and just it will come to you if you're open to it. Or you can stay. That's up to you. All right, so thank you guys for all coming by. New Age, I'm guessing it's your cousin Ben. He did pop back in. He likes to sit up on my knee here, and he wanted to know what I was doing, and I said that I was sending healing to everyone, and so he asked if he could do it too, and I said sure. So in my mind, I was showing him, you just put out your hands and just imagine all the white rose petals leaving your hands. You know, and being sent to everyone. Oh my God, Simon! Hey, up me ducks! I was just sending off some healing, and with New Age's lovely cousin in spirit, who was helping me to send off. Yeah, I was just showing him. I said, you just send off the white rose petals, and so he thought that was lovely too. Oh, and he did show me while I was sending the healing, he showed me like a little scar on his face, and he was like, he says, you can tell her that the scar is gone. And I was like, okay, all right. So I just wanted to throw that out there too. So Simon, today was a lovely day of just sharing stories. We talked about spirit, our fears, like where fears maybe come from. I talked about my house growing up, that it was totally crazy. So yeah, and I just sent a little healing out to everyone, and I'm hoping that, yeah, you guys all have a wonderful Saturday. And, you know, and if you missed anything, you know, go back and watch the replay. There was so many stories. So yeah, New Age, if you want to, oh, no worries. Maybe you catch us next Saturday. So New Age, if you want to send me an email later, just like letting me know anything else that turned up for you, maybe if anything else, you know, and maybe if you do tell his mom, you know, because I was talking about an accent, but I don't know if like yours, well, somebody, I don't know if your family has an accent. I'm not sure, but yeah, just let me know. All right. And such a internet issue. I wonder if you guys can see me again. Hopefully you guys can see me. Well, anyway, I'm wishing you all a lovely Saturday. I'll catch you next Saturday. I still have to make my faves for September, so I'll make that video this weekend and put that out for you guys. I have to go to my friend's daughter's 5th birthday party, and then tomorrow we got to go to Oktoberfest. Yeah, Simon, I saw that the internet got all whoo. But anyway, so yeah, I'll catch you spiritual homies later. Thank you so much for everybody who came in, and I enjoy each and every one of you, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And I'll catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys. Yes, Wayward Son. I like it. Bye.